Hi everyone, today is August 1st, 2019. It is 87 degrees Fahrenheit right now, 27 degrees Celsius, and I am in the New York City borough of the Bronx. Except where I'm going to take you today isn't going to look like New York City at all. This is the bridge to City Island. City Island is the name of a neighborhood in New York City, and it also shares the name of the island itself. But this little island shares more in common with some towns in New England than it does in New York City. It's really amazing, actually. But City Island is only 1.5 miles long, 2.4 kilometers long, by half a mile wide, which is only 0.8 kilometers wide. It's located at the western end of the Long Island Sound, south of Pelham Bay, which I just came from. Behind me is Pelham Bay and Pelham Bay Park, and east of Eastchester Bay. This island used to be a group of islands that was owned by the Englishman Thomas Pell, and actually belonged to Westchester County at one point. It wasn't even part of New York City back then. But this island had a long history of being traded back and forth between people who wanted to buy up the island. And in 1761, the island was then known as Minnieford Island. It was bought by Benjamin Palmer of New York, and this island only had a few homes and farms over here. There was about 1,000 people, and this person knew, Benjamin Palmer, that this could be a lucrative opportunity to build shipyards on the island, because a lot of people came here from the boats from Long Island and sailing from New York Harbor up here to dock. However, his plans didn't go through, and actually the American Revolution halted all the progress. There was a lack of funding. So anyway, here's City Island. It was settled in 1685. That's the official sign. Here's the Long Island Sound, as well as the City Island Bridge, which I just walked over, and a bunch of boats here. This island is very, very famous for its seafood. You can get great lobster here, fish, of all different kinds of cuisines, fried, baked, different kinds of fish. You can go fishing here, lobster pounds. So it does really resemble New England in that respect. It's a very quiet town. But anyway, Benjamin Palmer, he changed the name to City Island. But in 1819, City Island was annexed to Westchester County, and it narrowly became a part of the city of New York after a vote by the population here in 1895 in exchange for a new bridge to the mainland. So New York City won over the City Island residents with the bridge that connected their island to the Bronx. So as of today, City Island still has that suburban feel that you won't really find in too many other places in New York. And I'll take you through a walk of the entirety of City Island Avenue, and I'll even show you the eastern end once I get to, I forget the name of the road, I think it's Fordham. Here's the Seashore Seafood Restaurant and Marina. It also looks like it has a sushi bar here. Valet parking. Across the street is St. Mary's Star of the Sea. Very interesting architecture designs and a nice little church for the people of this area. But one thing I have to tell you about City Island, these restaurants get really, really popular, especially during major occasions such as Mother's Day. On Mother's Day, there can be a line of just like 2 hours just to get onto this island because there's only one way on and one way off through that bridge. So I wouldn't recommend you to come during that time unless you're really, really craving the food. But on Father's Day, it's like nobody comes here for Father's Day. It's very strange. Not all the restaurants are specialized in seafood. Here's a Latin American restaurant, Cocina Latina. They even have a happy hour from Monday to Thursday, 3 to 8 p.m. and Friday to Sunday, 12 to 5 p.m. So there's only two New York City buses that come onto this island. That's the only form of public transportation there is. Well, it looks like here's Portofino. Looks like an Italian restaurant. It's the BX29, which is the local bus, and the BXM8, which is the express bus. The express bus drops off and picks up in Manhattan. Here's a bait and tackle store. But you can only see that. You know, I'll just walk to the end right now. It's only half a block, so I can show you the eastern end of the island. There's the American Legion Post 156 of City Island. It's a lot of traffic here for this main street. There's only one main street that goes up and down this island, and that's City Island Avenue. So this street is called Cross Street. Most of the streets here are only about a block or two in from City Island Avenue because the island's so narrow. These are beautiful flowers. Now it's the summertime, so a lot of the island's blooms are coming up. Looks like they're doing some maintenance there, probably pruning the vegetation here. The sidewalk here isn't really maintained so well. Here's a nice group of homes on the left side and to the right. This home looks like it's seen better days. It says private property, but it's even being held up by a bunch of construction materials. So here's the eastern end of the island at Cross Street. There's a private beach there. Now that tiny little island in front of me is called Rat Island. And I'll tell you some more history about Rat Island once I find it. It's actually a privately owned island, Rat Island. I think it was purchased by a resident of City Island. The name eludes me, I forget who it was. But yeah, I'm making my way back to City Island Avenue right now. There's some bitter melons growing in the front yard. So actually, there was a retired Port Authority worker called Alex Shibboley. He's a resident of City Island who purchased the island in 2011, Rat Island, for $160,000. But he's considering renaming the island from Rat Island to Molina Island after his daughter. But actually the original name, Rat Island, they are not really sure where it came from. There's another island that's close by called Hart Island. It's owned by the Department of Corrections, and it's mainly used as a potter's field for people who die from natural causes or unnatural causes, and they don't know who the body's immediate family belongs to, so they have to give it a burial at Hart Island. But Rat Island got its nickname possibly from the prisoners escaping from Hart Island and then going on to the island of Rat Island. Or it could just be that there were rats on the island to begin with. There's a deli I just passed. Here's a Japanese and Latin American restaurant, Ohana. Very interesting combination of cuisines. But it's a beautiful day out for this walk of City Island. Hey, what's up? Hey. I've never personally tried this restaurant, but I would think it's really good. Ohana. Okay everyone, my battery died and I replaced it. But as I was saying, check out the Ohana restaurant. It's really good. I don't know what's up with my GoPro, if it's the battery that's faulty or if my camera's overheating. It's kind of odd though, because it's not even 90 degrees and then my camera just shuts off like that, so I'll have to look into that later. Oh, I want to tell you some interesting city island terminology used by the residents here. If you are born and a native of City Island, you're called a clam digger. And then the people who just move here are called mussel suckers. There's an interesting place. It's called Seafood City. Gigantic parking lot for such a small place though. But here's a fitness studio, physical therapy and wellness center, and a nail salon, Nail Island. So not all the businesses here are seafood based or restaurants. You still have the grocery stores and the nail salons and the hair salons here. People all need to use their services as well. Otherwise, it's a long drive off this island in order to get to the nearest town in the Bronx. All the homes here are quite charming, actually. I love the simplistic nature and relaxed setting for a lot of these homes, such as this one. Nice wide fence and neatly trimmed bushes and flowers. You can tell the people really here take care of their properties. The sidewalks are clean too. I barely notice any garbage at all. Looks like they're constructing something over here or renovating a business. I think this is the first gas station that I saw on City Island. Right now it is $3.19 and 9/10 of a cent for regular gasoline. That's per gallon. Oh, and that's also the cash price too. If you pay with a credit or a debit card, it's 10 cents more per gallon. Here's Artie's. According to the canopy, they have steak, seafood, and Italian food. They're also open for lunch. Nice display of wine bottles in the window. Dominic's Market is across the street. Looks very old-fashioned and a very good addition to the community. If you're driving to the area on any other day other than the major holidays and big summer weekends, it does seem like there's ample parking, especially at the restaurants. And if you're interested in living on the island, here's a for sale sign for this property here. Keep in mind that if you are working in Manhattan and you decide to live here, it will be a long commute because this is pretty much the northeastern corner of New York City. Here's a liquor store, the City Island liquor store. Here's a medical office to the left of me. This is an interesting church, the Trinity Methodist Church. This is Bay Street. There's a nail salon across the street as well as a deli. The deli seems to be closed right now. The gates are half rolled down. The Clam Diggers Laundromat, reference to the name that I mentioned earlier. Clam Diggers are the native residents of City Island. The Focal Point Gallery and antique store, the Earley Roof Antiques. And a frozen yogurt place of City Island. I've heard a lot of good things about the antique store. I haven't been there myself, but you should definitely check it out. All right, I was correct earlier. I am going to turn left onto Fordham Street because there's a nice promenade to the at the end here. Here's the City Island Diner with the sign that says that the City Island Nautical Museum is to the left. So I might as well check out the Nautical Museum from the outside on my way to the promenade. So the City Island Museum, it hosts a lot of artifacts from City Island's beginnings, as well as some other Native American tools and things of that nature. Is pretty neat. That's a nice home with looks like 2 exterior garages and a nice driveway. All of these homes have huge driveways actually. Minnieford Avenue. Nice little road in the middle of the block. So I'm just about to pass the Nautical Museum. It's right past this house right here. There's also the community center over there. But this nice building is open on the weekends and it hosts a lot of different artifacts from the boating industry to the Native Americans, different shells and other sea artifacts. I did see a sign on the front of the museum that said it was closed though. Here's Fordham Place. It's a nice little look into the City Islands residential life compared to the commercial street on City Island Avenue. There's actually a cemetery to the north of here called Pelham Cemetery. So this area is actually the docking area for Hart Island. If you have anybody or know anybody that's been buried at Hart Island, you can actually get the ferry here from City Island to Hart Island. However, you do need to notify them in advance. So here's the nice little promenade I was telling you about. Little bit strange how it is, how it's located next to the Department of Corrections launching area. But yeah, now you can see part of the water now that the vegetation is gone. There you can see Hart Island to the distance. Maybe I'll stand on this bench, you can get a better view. And I'm going to make my way back to City Island Avenue. It's a nice little area for the residents and people like me to enjoy, who just come to visit the island. One thing I will comment on is that there isn't any there aren't any public beaches on City Island that I know of. The closest one is actually on Orchard Beach, which is not too far from here. Many people from the Bronx, as well as parts of New York City, travel to Orchard Beach for the summer. It's actually a public beach that was created by the chief architect and mastermind Robert Moses. I don't know if I'll be able to get a video of Orchard Beach in the future, but it is a very interesting place. Despite it only being 81 degrees Fahrenheit right now, the sun is very strong. I did take a visit to City Island during the winter time, and the neighborhood feel just is so much different than it is now. It's more of an eerie calm rather than this mellow, relaxed tone that I'm walking in right now during the summer on the first day of August. This actually feels much longer to get back to the main avenue than I thought. Perhaps that's the widest part of the island. Steep drop in the sidewalk here. So finally I'm back at City Island Avenue, and I can show you the rest of the strip all the way to Belden Point and Johnny's Reef Restaurant. Okay, so there's Connie's New Way Supermarket across the street. The Snug for fish and chips. The City Island Real Estate Agency. Some old stoves there. That place across the street, the Lickety Split, is really good for ice cream. I may even go there myself once this walk is done to the Lickety Split ice cream place. This pizza restaurant doesn't look like it's open right now. Here's an accounting office. This art store is really unique. They sell everything from different paints and toys and glittering supplies. Black Whales across the street, a restaurant. The Mary Colby Studio Gallery. It's a gourmet coffee place. Nice little place to hang out, the Clipper Coffee. It's a rarities and obscurities shop. I do find it interesting how City Island has at least 2 antique shops on this strip. I guess for a town with a old town feel, antiques really resonate with many people here. So here's a building with scaffolding and also a faded notice that the premises needs to be vacated because it's perilous to life inside. When I see stuff like that, it makes me like cringe a little bit. Like, what can be so perilous that they need to shut the whole building down? Another artist cafe across the street, the Starving Artist. Good name, actually. You can go there and give some money to the Starving Artist. They'll really appreciate it. Man Overboard. That's a really funny name for a restaurant. The Firehouse Corner Deli and Grocery. This toy store, well, I'm not sure it's a toy store, it's a collector's store across the street. They sell a lot of vintage stuff. I hope there's no traffic. I can go. Yep, I can go. But yeah, this place is so cool. They have a huge display outside and you can check out all the different toys. Really neat here. Different dolls and some other weird things like I wouldn't want to buy a barefoot, but hey, it's there if you want to. Lobster claws, watches, some ponies, and other stuffed animals. You can even get an eyeball if you want, and Hot Wheels. All right. That's the vintage store for City Island. It's 239 play. You can get your mixed martial arts instruction here. Center Street. I think this is the first bank that I saw on this island. The Chase Bank. It's a nice playground across the street. Ray's Cafe and Restaurant, Spanish and American food. Some motor vehicle repair shop here. And of course, no neighborhood is complete without a public school and the local post office. So here is City Island School, public school number 175, and the City Island Station of the U.S. Postal Service. This business looks like it's seen better days. I don't know how long it's been closed up like that. And now we see a huge place across the street just for boats, the Minnieford Marina. Just look at all those boats there for sale and storage. Here it is, the Minnieford Marina, Boat Max. Some of those boats are probably even more expensive than these homes here on City Island. Just looking at some of them. An auto body and towing business across the street. This is the Cooperstone Realty Group. Here's a huge parking lot for the restaurant on the corner here. Schoefield on the island, restaurant and catering. Looks like a really nice place here, Schoefield's. There's even a first floor here. The dining area is upstairs, according to that sign. This is Grace Church. Looks very historic. Very tranquil waterfall. I'm only about a 5-minute walk from the end of the island. There's a City Island Chinese restaurant across the street for takeout food. And I'm pretty sure these two businesses are related. There's two businesses called Sammy's on either side of the street. This is the parking lot for Sammy's. But the Sammy's shrimp box is across the street. And then on this side of the street, there's Sammy's fish box. So there's a fish box restaurant and a fish box restaurant. Here's the fish box restaurant. And there's another parking lot for Sammy's across the street. I'm pretty sure they are related. Even the font is similar. Here's another storefront for the fish box restaurant. Yeah, nice little quiet place. Wow, Sammy's has so much parking, it's unbelievable. There's 3 huge parking lots for just those 2 places. I'm assuming anyway, if they're all related. And there's the lobster box across the street. The end of City Island is just lined with seafood restaurants. Here's another seafood restaurant, Tony's Pier, waterfront family dining. And then the one at the very tip of the island, which I would assume most of the residents here and a lot of people who travel here from Bronx and parts of New York City who come all the way to the end of the island are familiar with, is Johnny's Reef Restaurant. If you're ever in visiting City Island, I highly recommend you to come to Johnny's Reef. It's been here for many, many years. But that's it, everyone. I've made it to the tip of City Island at Belden Point. Where I'm looking at right now is actually Long Island and Queens and a bunch of seagulls. But if you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already to my channel. Click that bell icon so you know when I'll post a new video. And stay tuned for the next adventure or video. And I'm about to get some Johnny's Reef. Catch you later.